and welcome to another RSR. Tonight we are reviewing St. Louis Blues 3, Winnipeg Jets 4. In 2 overtimes, the Jets win the series 3-4, and they win the series 4-3. Again, funnily enough, the score mirrors the series win. Again, this time it's against one of my teams. Man. It sucks. Game 7, double overtime, lose. But they had the lead with 2 minutes left, and they allow one. With the empty net, the goalie pulled, they allow one. And then just seconds to go. 2 seconds to go. They let the game get tied up, and they go to overtime. Play a perfect 20-minute overtime. Look like the better team. Look like they could score. Hell, look like that overtime too. They set up. They get one late. It's over. It's one of the longest Game 7s of all time. Game 7, 250th overtime. Game 7. It ends the wrong way, but it started well. First period. Buchnevich plays it to Parayko. Parayko has the puck. Hellebuyck slides out to it as he plays it to Kyrou across. All Kyrou has to do is tap it in. 1:10 into the period. 1-0 Blues. And you're like, damn, they started hot. You think the Demons are starting to take over the Jets, but they don't. But they haven't, as you'll see. 1-0. Kyrou scores early. 7:16. No assists on this goal. 7:16 through the period. Matthew Joseph with a banger of a shot to the short side past Hellebuyck. 2-0. End of 1. It's 2-0, and the Blues look amazing. The first period was all Blues. The Jets looked like they weren't even in the same league. The Blues were out skating them, outplaying them, outscoring them. The Jets got better as the game went on. They started hitting more and all that. But other than that, after the first, it looked like Blues all the way. They were going to blow the freaking Jets out of the water. Then the second period comes around. 11:41 on the power play. Pionk and Connor with the assist. Cole Perfetti with a shot into the net from the side. Puts it over Binnington 2-1. And the Jets are within 1. And lucky for them, they are, because it would matter later on. But 19:25, late in the second period. Bad giveaway by the Jets. Walker plays it to Radek Faksa. Faksa takes the shot, bangs it past Hellebuyck. 3-1 for the Blues right before the end of the second period. And you would think, oh, that's a killer. That's a killer. There's no way they come back from that. And they were honestly a little bit more even through the second period, but the Blues still had a 2-goal lead. You would think, hey, you know what? That's got to be it, right? End of second, 3-1 Blues. Third period, Sandberg and Pionk with the assists. This is 6-on-5, 18:05 through the period. The goalie had been pulled. Vladislav Nemestikov with a shot. Takes it, deflects off defender, goes to the far side of the net, past Binnington. He had no chance, 3-2. But they still need 1. The Jets still need 1. That's all they need to go to overtime. And the Blues, 10 seconds to go. It plays around the zone. Ehlers just throws it to Kyle Connor. Kyle Connor throws it on. Tapped in by Cole Perfetti. 19:57 through the period. Another 6-on-5 goal. Another goal with the goalie pulled, of course. 3-3. The end of regulation. It's 3-3. We go to overtime. The first overtime, no goals. The first period of this game did not have a goal scored during the 20 minutes. And the Blues looked like the team who would score. They looked like they had the better chances. They had some really good rushes. Again, Broberg with a shot where his stick just implodes as he's hitting it. If that doesn't happen, I think this game's over before we even talk about the goal against. The Jets winning. I think the Blues have it then. Honestly, I feel like that shot, if that stick didn't break, Broberg ends it there. Late on in the first overtime. But in the end, No goals, 3-3 at the end of overtime 1, of course. We move on to a second overtime, and 16:08 through the second overtime, Neil Pionk throws it on. Adam Lowry taps it through, hits a defender, and in 3-4, the Jets win Game 7, and they move on to play the Dallas Stars, and they will host the Dallas Stars in Winnipeg to start that series. Probably Wednesday after the Leafs game too, I bet. Probably, but that's my guess. Final 3-4. Winnipeg wins the series 4-3. They move on. They don't end up blowing Game 7. They come back. The first team to come back from 2 down this whole series. And they win the series, the Winnipeg Jets do. And honestly, the longer this game went, I wouldn't say they played that much better, but they started damn low during the first period that, frankly, you would think they'd get better throughout the game, and they did. The Blues, they should have won this. They should have. But they blew it. Again, the theme of them not playing a full game and running out of gas in Winnipeg ruined them. And it wasn't even like a whole period. It was 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And the crazy part is, after that happened, they still played a really good first overtime and honestly second overtime. So they didn't truly run out of gas, but again, they didn't play a full 60-minute game, and it ruined them. Again, all 4 games in Winnipeg, the Blues played well, but they didn't play a full 60 minutes, and that's why they lost every single one of them. They played, and Hellebuck played like crap all 3 games at Scott Trade Center. That's why the Jets lost all 3 of those. No team blinked at home, and we thought the Jets were about to, but they didn't. And the Jets did their job. Overall, the Jets did their job. And that hurts. It just hurts. Because the Blues should have won this game. All things considered, they should have won this game. And they didn't. They didn't. And it's they only have themselves to blame. They only have themselves to blame. The Jets played a tough game. They got back into it. They found a way to win. They deserved this. This was a war for 7 games. The games in Winnipeg were a war. The games in St. Louis, they got shelled like a war. But they still were alive. They won at home, and they found a way. The Blues had their backs against the wall, and I think this game is a microcosm of what I was saying after Game 6. My bad. The Blues play better with their backs against the wall. That's why they started so well. That's why they held on so well. But they started to feel, I think, they started to celebrate a little bit. Not exactly, but mentally, I think they started celebrating once the final 2 minutes hit. I think deep down they thought, holy crap, this was so easy. There's no way, right? Like, it was so easy for them, this game. Until those last 2 minutes. I think mentally they let themselves get up off the wall a bit too early. And once they did, they got pushed straight back to it. But I think they were hurt mentally so badly that they were so close and yet so far. And they still had to play 2 overtimes, and a bounce ends up going in. The Jets win. What can you do? And the thing about it is the Blues have played such a good season. After the Four Nations break. Ever since the Four Nations break, the Blues have been amazing. This was house money for them. And to be honest, this shows the Blues have a really good future ahead of them. They really do. That's the good news. The Blues have a really good future ahead of them as a hockey team, as a franchise. They have an amazing future ahead of them. And that's the good news. The bad news is once you get here, you kind of want to win, you know? Nobody thought they'd be at a Game 7 against the President's Trophy winners 2 months ago. Nobody thought that. Nobody thought it would take 2 overtimes. Nobody thought they'd damn near be ahead for 58 minutes. Nobody thought that. But once you get there, you're kind of like, hey, you know what? I kind of want to win, you know? I want to win. And they didn't. And that hurts. And this team got good playoff experience and also heartbreaking experience because I think these guys did want it. And that's how they fought throughout the season. They fought until the bitter end, and it just didn't go their way. And they have such good players. Honestly, I'm still proud of the Blues as a team for what they've done since the Four Nations break and getting to this point. But damn it if it doesn't hurt. It hurts. And I'm sure the players hurt even more than I do. I'm sure of that. And, dude, you can't let that happen at the end of the third. That's the bad part, is you can't just go out to lunch thinking you have it already. And in theory, the Jets have the talent. The Jets have the talent to come back from 2 down with the goalie out. And they did. You played with fire, you got burnt. And you just couldn't bounce back. You couldn't throw the knockout punch. They were saved by the bell, and you couldn't throw the knockout punch later on. You got what you deserved. That's point blank, period. And the Jets, they did well. But honestly, player of the game for me is Jordan Binnington. Why? He's the only Blue that I don't think got let down tonight. I think Jordan Binnington put his damn body on the line, put himself on the line, and he did so damn well. I think he probably feels the worst out of everybody because Jordan Binnington did his job. He really got beat by tip-ins and redirections and blocks. And I thought he was on really well. I don't think allowing 4 goals really tells you the story of Binnington's game. I really don't. I think he was better than that. He shouldn't have allowed those, but those were ones he really couldn't get. It wasn't really his fault. I think he was still the better goalie tonight. In the end, it didn't matter. But what can you do? So I honestly think he's player of the game. For the Jets, Cole Perfetti probably. If you want me to go the Jets route, I think Cole Perfetti was their player of the game. 2 goals. There you go. I think he deserves that. 2 redirections, 2 goals. Good for him. With that being said, the Blues, it's heartbreaking. It really is. You expected more? Or you didn't expect this much, but once you got there, you expected more. And it hurts. But the Jets are the President's Trophy winners for a reason. They have the talent. And their talent finally showed through. Hellebuck didn't totally fall apart when he could have totally fallen apart. The Jets didn't totally fall apart when they could have totally fallen apart. They honestly built themselves back up throughout the game. They started bad to build themselves back up instead of starting okay and then blowing it up. Like the Scott trade games. So you look at it, you're like, the Blues did all they could. They just fell apart the final hurdle. They tripped over their own feet. The Jets knew how to take capture of that. So with that being said, it hurts. The Jets will move on to round 2. The Blues are out. And as a hockey fan, in my hockey fan span of my life, I don't think I've ever seen the Leafs make the second round, but the Blues don't. When they're both in the playoffs together. Technically in 2023, the Blues didn't make it at all, and the Leafs made the second round, but it's hard for the Blues to make the second round if they aren't even there. So when they're both in it, normally it's the Leafs knocked out in 1, Blues move on. This is different. This is weird. The Blues are the ones who choked in Game 7. The Blues are the ones who got knocked out in round 1. The Leafs didn't. You could say, but the Leafs won a division. The Blues didn't. Still the Leafs, but whatever. With that being said, there you go. Speaking of the Leafs, well, before that, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send some chats on the live streams. Comment on this video. Put this in playlist. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you tomorrow. 6:55 Central, 7:55 Eastern for the live watch-along and review. The live watch-along itself, review after the game of Florida Panthers at Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 1 of round 2, my bad. Game 1 of round 2. we'll be here for it. We'll talk about it. We'll do it. And hopefully the Leafs end up winning. That'd be awesome if they do, but we'll see. But congratulations, felicitaciones to the Jets. Commiserations to the Blues. The Blues, you have a good future ahead of you, but you got to pick some pieces up. Jets, you did your job. Wasn't pretty, but you did your job. Good luck with Dallas. With that being said, I'll see you later. I'm Ron and I'm out. Peace. See ya.